Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at race number 8 on Black-Eyed Susan Friday at Pimlico. It's the Allaire du Pont Distaff. We're going 1.125 for fillies and mares. Let's take a look at this field. There are some solid mares in this race, Mike, including Julia Shining, the number 1, Shotgun Hottie, the number 8. These are horses, though, that on occasion will disappoint. So maybe you want to go with a newer face. Intrepid Dreams, the local hope, and that horse has been razor sharp. And Lacey Be Good, all she's done is win her last 5.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think you just want to necessarily concede the lead or the race to either the 1 or the 8, although they have sort of the class lines that sort of suggest they'll be favored in here. I mean, Julia Shining, let's be honest, Dan, has a lot of potential, or seemed like she had a lot of potential. She hasn't exactly panned out so far for Pletcher. Shotgun Hottie, she's got races that will make her really, really tough in here. We'll see. It feels like she's sort of working her way forward this year, but the clock is ticking now, man. She needs to show up here and run a good race.
Shotgun Hottie has some speed, as we see on our Timeform US pace projector. Not sure if she's going to get the lead from a horse like Musical Mischief, but she has shown the ability to sit just off if necessary. And if this pace is hot, Julia Shining has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. And if there's one thing we know about this filly, is she really wants 1.125.
Yeah, exactly. The distance certainly, has to be taken into consideration here. I think Shotgun Hottie is going to be forward in this race. She doesn't need to be on the lead, but they'll come out of there running, I think, and try to get right up close to the pace. That's her advantage here, Dan, because Julia Shining, you know where she's going to be. She's going to be coming wide from the back here and trying to close everybody down.
Considering Julia Shining won her first 2 starts, including the Grade 2 Demoiselle, considering her pedigree, considering her connections, big things were expected out of her after that, and she's still trying to seek her first victory since the Demoiselle. Her most recent start was her 4-year-old debut at Keeneland, and Mike, it looked like she had that race in the bag at odds on. She kind of made a wide move into the stretch, took over the lead, and just got a little bit tired. Maybe the layoff had something to do with it, but I usually trust Todd in those situations.
I know that's the thing that makes me at least not want to be too lenient on the performance, because Todd usually has these horses ready to go off of layoffs. They came back in an allowance race with her. She got bet hard in that race with Lasix on. It just seemed like everything was set up for her to win that day. She made the big move off the turn, had all the momentum, never really got by Musical Mischief, Dan, who was on the lead at that point, and then just got out finished up the inside. I don't know. I wasn't thrilled with that performance. It's not like I was thrilled with all of her races prior to that either. She's going to be a short price in this race. She can clearly win it in here, but I don't think I'd go too short on her.
Number 2, Lacey Be Good's going to be making her stakes debut for Tom Amoss, and why not? She's won 5 in a row, 4 at Delta Downs, and then the most recent race, this one at Oaklawn in an allowance event, and she just has the tactical speed to work out good trips, doesn't she? She sat perched right off the early leader, took over on the second turn, and I like how she repels this runner-up.
I like that too. She does put away a pretty stiff challenge here from another horse. I mean, this Lacey Be Good got a good trip in here, but so did the runner-up. And Lacey Be Good just turns her away and wins this race for fun. Her form right now is outstanding. They're going to move her up and take a shot here, Dan. I don't think they moved her up too much either. I think she probably fits here.
Another horse making her stakes debut is the 3, Western Lane, for Kerry Bryan and Victor Carrasco. Let's watch this one's most recent start. Second level allowance at Laurel, and it was a race that was won in gate-to-wire fashion. Western Lane tried to rally from way out of it. It's going to get up for third. The 5th place horse would come back to win a second level allowance on turf with an 81 buyer. This horse is going to probably have to run a career best.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this horse, but it feels like maybe they've stepped her up one spot too far, Dan. I'm not sure that she's going to be able to beat this field. I like her overall, and you know that she's going to show up and run her race. But man, this is a tough spot for her, and she's not the best closer in this field.
Musical Mischief still has to prove herself in the stakes level. She was 3rd in a Grade 1 on turf, and then Michael McCarthy ran her back in the La Cañada. She got beat that day. They gave her a little bit of a break, and then they brought her back last time out in the Julia Shining race. And let's watch Musical Mischief. I thought this was a pretty game try. In the green silks is Musical Mischief. On the outside is Julia Shining. It looks like Julia Shining's on her way, but Musical Mischief, to her credit, is going to keep fighting. They're both going to battle, and they're both going to get beat by a rail skimmer.
Yeah, they're both just grinding here the last furlong, and the winner's just going to come right up the inside. The winner never left the rail the entire way. While Julia Shining was making the wide move on the turn, the winner just sat on the rail and got through. So certainly the trips made some kind of a difference in that race, Dan. I'm still not going to give Musical Mischief some kind of big excuse for that race. She got a perfect trip in there, tracking a big long shot on the lead. Fought off Julia Shining, but couldn't fight off the winner. She ran fine in there, but it didn't make me necessarily want to bet her back against this field.
A mile and an eighth is a taxing distance for many of these horses. It shouldn't work against the 5, Queen of Missoula, who's won a couple of 10 furlong races over the synthetic at Turfway. And then last time out, caught a very underrated field in the Grade 3 Double Dog Dare. I think Raging Sea's poised to having a good year this year for
Yeah.
Chad Brown. And the third place finisher from that race came back to win a second level allowance with a 93 buyer. Now, this filly doesn't have a ton of early speed, but she will stay all day and she's going to be a good price.
Yeah, distance is no issue for her. We'll see how far away she gets. I mean, she doesn't have a ton of speed, but the one time on dirt anyway, when she was confronted with a really slow pace, that was her maiden win at Keeneland. She kept right up close that day, and she hammered that field with a big run through the stretch. I know that the wins 2 and 3 back were on a totally different surface, but she also looked good winning those races going longer than this. And I thought she kind of ran an underrated race last time, Dan, against a way better field than this one.
Cats in the Timber is the number 6, maybe slowly working her way back into form for Brittany Russell. It's her third start off of an extended layoff, but last time out she was beaten, I thought, on the square by Intrepid Dream, who's also in this race, and she's really yet to run a fast race.
Yeah, she doesn't have the one race that you can point to that makes you feel like she's going to be a major contender here. You're going to get a really big price if you like her for really good connections, but I just can't find that one race that makes me want to bet her against this field.
Like Lacey Be Good, Intrepid Dream has won 5 in a row, including her most recent start, the Heavenly Cause, where she beat Cats in the Timber, who ran third. She is a brute. She weighs in at over 1,350 pounds, and she's taking aim on the leader right now. Now, she has to work at odds on, Mike, to run down this horse, Sweet Child of Mine, but she eventually grinds her down through the long stretch of the mile run.
She's going to get the job done here. It's only her second start back off of a really, really long layoff, though, Dan. So I feel like maybe she's the kind of mare that you could expect maybe one more forward move. She's got a faster race to get to, one that would give her a real chance in here. And she's got really good tactical speed, too. I mean, I kind of felt like the more I looked at her, I didn't really know what to do with her. And I was just going to kind of leave it up to you. I mean, she's on your circuit. If you told me to use her, I would probably throw her in there.
I think this might be a little tough for her. She's been facing some good horses over there. She's really come into her own, but I just wonder if this might be a little bit too tough. Shotgun Hottie is up next, and she looked good winning the Grade 3 Molly Pitcher on Haskell afternoon. She beat a useful mare in search results, who was the big favorite that day, and it probably isn't a good sign that in the form she was in, she then had to go to the sidelines for the rest of the year. And Cherie DeVoe, as you mentioned, might be giving her baby steps back. She's taken on good company at Oaklawn this winter. And in the Apple Blossom last time out, I thought she was on a real hard chase on the second turn to go after Adair Manor. She was wide pretty much most of the way, and she understandably flattened out. The runner-up flattered the race, came back, ran third in that Grade 1 Derby City Distaff with a 98 buyer. She's going to get a good trip. She fits with these horses. Are you worried about the mile and an eighth? Because I'm a little concerned about it.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that. I just feel, but more than anything else, I can't say that I love any one of the 3 starts back so far, but I do feel like she's maybe getting a little bit better. I don't think she had like perfect trips in any one of those races. So I want to stay on the positive side with her, Dan, and I really respect the fact that Cherie DeVoe is going to take a little bit of a step back in class. She's found a really good spot here to get Shotgun Hottie back on track. I think she's the horse to beat in this race, but she's going to be a really short price in here. And it's not like I'm terrified to take some kind of a shot against her.
Well, let's take a look at who you like in the Allaire du Pont Distaff. And you're going to go with a price. Queen of Missoula is one of the most unexposed horses in the race. I think you know what you're going to get from Julia Shining. I think you know what you're going to get from Shotgun Hottie and some of the others. I'm not sure if we've actually scratched the surface with Queen of Missoula yet, so it's all about getting a trip.
Yeah, she's going to have to get the right trip in here, but she should be a fair price. I don't care if Julia Shining wins this race. I'm not betting her right here. She's going to be a short price. I don't care if she wins. I'll happily lose to her. Shotgun Hottie, to me, is way the horse to beat. And I feel she's the horse that I have to use everywhere when I'm playing this race. But Queen of Missoula is the other horse for me. I feel like I think there's a chance that she's really underrated and is a really good price in here.
She might be the value in this race, to be sure. I prefer, like you, Shotgun Hottie over Julia Shining in this race. I just think she's going to get a good trip, get the jump on these horses turning from, and we'll see if she can still run. Because if she can, she's going to be real tough, even if this distance is a bit far. 81574 for me, 5817 for Mike in the Allaire du Pont Distaff. It's Black Eyed Susan Friday at Pimlico. Best of luck.